a 1v1, but in a 1v1 where the enemy is pushing through a smoke, they don't necessarily know where you are, and you can try to take that and use it to your advantage. So this is a little bit of what I want to see from w7m here. Some patient plays and using that utility to force FURIA into some uncomfortable rotations.
Well, of course, as we mentioned, it's that T-side start for FURIA. And they're posting up over towards the B apartments. It's where they're looking to go towards a slower tempo, though. They are playing it at their own pace. They're going to come forward for the likes of Tufa. Not going to cause too much damage as they fight their way forward. I've got to come out. We're not going to find the kill. Dina falls early doors. Car traded out. Bomb drop. And it's a double, in fact, for Bruno. Looking to make it 3. Will she be able to? Falls off the box. A tough one to clear. And the numbers advantage doubled down brilliantly. Mari's going to fall 2 versus 4. Everything's playing in their favor. One by one, they're being chipped apart. And the more important thing, the bomb is dropped from the site. They can't even get to a comfortable position. Tufa will fall to the hands of Gabby in that P250, but they've got a lot of work ahead of them. And 50 seconds on the clock, too.
And what I love about this is exactly what I wanted to see from w7m, this patient play. They know that they don't have to be aggressive. They can just wait it out, wait for FURIA to walk into them, and then do that little bit of cleanup. There you have it. Last couple of kills come through at the end of the round there. This gets played very perfectly, very clinically by w7m. This is a better look, and hopefully they can kind of run with this.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's kind of, as you mentioned, with w7m, it's one of those situations now for them where it's kind of, you look towards map number 1, and they never, ever found that consistency, right? They couldn't get consecutive rounds on the board. And what we said about slim margins of success coming forward, it was sporadic. Now, with a pistol round under their belt, and of course, the main thing is now a little bit of a longevity in terms of their economy. They should be, at the very least, in a position to find a couple of rounds going forward. You're either taking up an aggressive fight to Tufa to kickstart the action, though. Gabby will fall. The trade come through brilliantly. Doubles down emphatically. Looking to make it a third. Not to be the case. Kara, back tight, dancing around pillar, gets traded out 1-for-1 by the MAC-10. And somehow, some way, the lesser firepower of FURIA is looking like it might tie this game up more or less immediately.
That's a bit of a rough start here, and you start to see the hero rifle pay off a little bit, but yeah, there you go. It does get knocked out, but they can just pick that back. Oh, okay, they did. Whew. So yeah, the hero rifle definitely plays off quite well there, and they take a far more aggressive stance, and then that kind of more subdued approach can become a little bit more dangerous. You get overrun very, very quickly, and you're not quite able to deal with it again. They weren't really expecting it to come out so hard and fast.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, now the thing for w7m is they're back to square one, essentially, right? Aren't they? The other side of the sword, where it's back to that low by what we saw FURIA previously. Not a bad start, though. At least the Deagle's finding one. Bit of damage on towards the second, too. Mari gonna fall to the hands of Juliana. She had a, unfortunately for her, a slow game. We highlighted her, didn't we? But she had a slow game in towards Nuke, and I think that could have been a deciding factor for the lack of success w7m found. But if she does start to find her feet, which it looks like she has, 3-1 is where she stands, potentially that could turn the tides to success coming the way of w7m.
I mean, this is, even if they don't manage to win out this round, it's not terrible. If they can get one more kill here, then, you know, they'll have kills. They'll get a little bit of cash for getting kills. Hopefully they can deny the bomb plant, so they deny some cash there. But looks like it's not going to happen, unfortunately. Still not awful, but you would have liked to have maybe gotten 1 or 2 more kills if possible. So we're going to see a very split push back towards the B site, and this can be very dangerous if you're not able to kind of swing on one another. You got to implement the buddy system, as Moxie likes to say. Unfortunately, being so far away, it is quite easy to catch you off guard, but that very nearly ends up in a death.
Izolo drops Juliana. It's all down to one. They knew exactly where Bruno's coming from, and it should be a more or less simple mop-up. And it is 2-1. They take back that lead. They claw it back in their favor. And what was looking like it should have been a strong start from w7m, it's unfortunately turned the other way, and it comes off the back of that force buy going in their favor. That's such a momentum shifter, isn't it? And when FURIA get a hold of momentum, they're so good at just pulling it further and further in their favor. It's the age-old saying, give them an inch and they'll take it a yard, and that is what we do see from FURIA. Now, once again, second part of the double eco for them. Shouldn't expect too much, and what a brilliant shot as well. Kara just gets her head ripped off.
With this being a little bit back and forth for the first 3 rounds, no one's economy is looking terribly good, but w7m's is definitely the worst off of the two. Now, into the next round, they're still going to be able to do something at the very least. I think that this round is going to be a little bit of a wash. Just kind of get it over with, get to the next round, get some proper weaponry in your hands, and hopefully they can start to bring this back in their favor, because right now, it's been rough to make a start. It's crazy to me that FURIA are still playing this so slowly. They know that there's only 2 players left alive, and they're still being so patient about this.
Yeah, it's testament to their ability, isn't it, as well? They don't really want to risk anything, and that's why we have found and seen this consistent success go the way of FURIA, because they do not take anything for chance. Even when they know they're coming in with a significantly better firepower, you never see them go, hyper aggressive, try and risk things, because they're also aware of gamble stacks coming forward. And when you're going against pistols, it's more often the case that you do see a gamble stack come through. But yeah, FURIA so far, cutthroat, ruthless as they usually are. 3-1 is where we stand. And finally, we see a full buy come forward for w7m. The question is, can they stop this B push?
Well, it looks like it's going to be quite an aggressive one. And unfortunately here, Bruno's alone on site. She has to wait for the rest of her team to rotate around. Now, there could be potential to create this little bit of a crossfire here, but FURIA, again, haven't actually quite committed. They've made a little bit of noise over towards B. Now they're going to start moving, and I'm glad to see that while w7m did send in a couple of reinforcements, they didn't overcommit or over-rotate, and they've still got quite good control of the map in general. Can they leverage that into a win? FURIA, again, playing such a patient game here. We've seen them play aggressive. Now they're playing more carefully. Now they're playing so much more subdued. Let's see if this works out.
Kara may have just spotted Mari's arm, and they're still holding over towards short. He's got to come forward. What a brilliant opener as well. Kara, stunning, swings forward, deletes Kara out of the equation, and there's the numbers advantage going in favor of FURIA. Now, flashing towards short, Super, holding, waiting. Boost going to come forward as well. Will they clear it is the question from above. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Is finding Tufa in towards this close get right position. Bruno pays trigger. This has been a pay the price for it. Unfortunate as Olga finds that kill on towards the site, but it's still all down to Yadina's hands, and one of which she's not able to capitalize upon. Now, Juliana, 1 versus 3, and it's safe to say I think this is just a little bit of a tall order. 1 versus 3. Numbers advantage in favor of FURIA. Post-one set up. They've got all the information they need, and they should be expecting her to come from exactly that place. Gabby, from range, finds that final kill, and that's FURIA now starting to pull away. I don't know about you, Sam, but I'm getting flashbacks towards Nuke already.
Yeah, it's not looking great. And the one thing about trigger discipline, so sometimes it can pay off so well, and you can get like a barrage of kills, and sometimes you don't get anything. You get caught out pretty quickly. You immediately get found out waiting, trying to get those sneaky picks, and unfortunately, yeah, that's exactly what happens in that round. And that's going to be another one going over to FURIA. Now, we talk about dynamic plays, and here we go. They're going for a pretty standard, maybe not necessarily the execute just yet, but look at all the utility coming out here. They're definitely making it seem like the A push, and yes, they are going to commit to it.
Yeah, Olga leading the charge, finding the first, make it second, but no. Traitors come forward, double for Mari though. Oh, so clean. Oh, so comfortable. 2 versus 4. Utility made all the difference to know over towards this A side. It's a very kind of textbook execute over towards A. Cutthroat, lethal, and for FURIA now, this should be a mop-up. It should be a 5-1 scoreline if they're on the board, because with just pistols coming through, it's a tall order for w7m as they make their way slowly on towards the side. Now, Tuba kind of going towards Tetris. Damage dealt, but not going to be the kill. Mari finds that final shot, and that's that 4-round lead we were looking for. FURIA on the T side, looking as prevalent as ever.
And the worst part is that w7m aren't even managing to make it expensive for FURIA. They get 1, maybe 2 kills. And when you're on such a runaway streak as FURIA have been, 1 or 2 kills isn't going to make the biggest difference in the world. I mean, look at them. They are flush with cash at the moment. Even if they lose, 2 or 3 players in this round and the next round, they're still going to be good to go. So w7m have a lot of legwork to put into this. What they have done that's quite interesting, we didn't see this in the previous map, is that double AWP setup. Now, is FURIA going to be expecting that? This could be the linchpin. Look at that. First kill already.
Yeah, dream start as well, isn't it? Yadina coming up huge to find the first. At the very least, though, the quick trade, Tufa falls, and now they've got a little bit of an alleyway. Mid-control in favour of the T side. Juliana still just dancing and, well, quite literally playing with fire in towards top con. They dropped. We'll do a slight bit of chip damage over towards Olga, but nothing too pressing as Izza makes her way forward into towards jungle. Now, there's a decent amount of control being gone. They have a FURIA, and they have the ability to start potentially posturing towards a split, and they could even wrap towards B. Needs to be careful, Juliana, both full blind of Olga, but she comes out on top. Just about by the skin of her teeth, winning out that fight, and they take that numbers advantage. We spoke about how huge this has been in terms of turning the tides, and for FURIA, now looking in a very, very strong suit. And Dina can't even make her way through jungle because she's going to be picked off from behind, and there it is. All falls out of their hands, and the double up setup down to just 1. 2 versus 4, bomb to be planted, and well, just like this, I think it, once again, should just be an early save call. Long-term economy is not great for the CT side. Prioritize keeping that AWP in play.
And even in a round where they have 2 AWPs, they still only manage 1 kill. Which, okay, bearing in mind that no one on FURIA even went over towards the B side, which is where one of the ops was posted up. But even so, I mean, that was a really huge investment to put into that, and they lost both AWPs. They didn't manage to hold on to either of them. So the massive amount of money that they invested into that round doesn't pay off at all. And now they can still, yeah, okay, so they're not going to go for any sort of massive force here. They could have maybe, but instead they're going to try and hold on to some of that cash, because we talk about how important utility is, and I must say that that played such a huge role in that last round. All of the smokes to shut down the sightlines, particularly of that AWP. I mean, as soon as they knew where the AWP was, they weren't allowing any of those sightlines to come through. FURIA are just like a well-oiled machine right now.
Yeah, they are. I mean, there's absolutely no flaws in their play. And speaking of, they're flooding out towards the A side. What an opener is finds Tufa, posted up on the bulk, just like that. The A site, oh so vulnerable in a matter of seconds. What an execute. I mean, granted, just against pistols, but cutthroat, isn't it? Absolutely flawless, and leaves it all down to Yadina. All alone. 1 versus 5, and with just a 5-7, no armor, no utility. I think it's more than safe to say this is probably going to be the round going the way of FURIA's. It's as you mentioned, you know, for w7m, they could have gone for a force buy, but it would have been risky, and I don't think it's worth it in that situation. We've got a high risk, high reward, and occasionally it works in their favor. You know, cast our mind back to round number 2, or map number 2, where FURIA pulled a force buy in their favor, and it massively turned the tides. But yeah, it wouldn't have been worth it. Stick around the 2K mark, at least gives yourself that stability to pick up a buy coming in towards the next round. But a 6-round buffer already being built up. This is why we said that FURIA starting on the T side of Mirage is actually arguably a scarier thing than them starting on CT.
And we were really hoping that w7m would be able to put up some kind of a fight here. We kind of spoke about how important, you know, utility usage was going to be, particularly on this map. Now, of course, it's also important on Nuke, but given that this is such a well-known map, you know, everything is kind of in its box. Everybody knows exactly what they're doing on this map from round to round to round. You're really hoping that w7m are going to be able to use that to their advantage, and they start with that. We saw it 2 rounds back when they had the double up setup, which they're running again here. They try and use that little bit of utility to try and force some of those rotations, but FURIA, again, as soon as they know where that AWP is, they had kind of held on to a bit of their utility just, you know, for in case. And they managed to use that to give themselves easy rotations past the AWP. So now, let's take a look at where these AWPs are going to be posted up this time around. And again, it's the same positions more. Okay, no, there's one on the A side this time. No, it's not. It's the same positions. This is so easily read.
Yeah, Yadina as well, forced back early doors. Brilliant opener, they go for the underpass wrap, and well, just like that, they get put in their place in a matter of seconds. It's unfortunate that flash catches and doesn't give her that preferable peek in towards the early B-ups position, and after seconds, they just get decimated, don't they, over towards the B side. It's a substantial execute, and credit once again to FURIA. It's textbook. This is the thing that makes FURIA so scary. It's not like they're doing crazy plays that are really just out of nowhere, kind of pulling an ace out of your sleeve. No, it's just textbook Counter-Strike, but played at the absolute highest level. Is at 1-for-1. Bruno, at the very least, making it expensive. Trying to cause a little bit of chip damage, but no, Gabby will be the one to finish things off. 8-1 is where we stand. And at a 7-round lead, FURIA, they've already guaranteed themselves a lead heading in towards the second half. And the way they're playing, they might even trump the half that they had in against Nuke. That was 13-2. And they potentially could do themselves one better.
Maya Dina on the site with the AWP. Now, I know it's a little stressful. You know, you've been pushed right off of your position from a very, very aggressive push. But to be caught out so unawares while you have the AWP, it's such a rough start to the round. And now, the second round that they've lost both of the ops. And now they're back down onto a full save. And this is, again, another round that we're not expecting them to be able to come out on top of. I like the fact that they try that double AWP setup. What I don't like is that despite us lauding them for being such a dynamic team, we see very little of that dynamicism when they have the AWPs in their hands. They kind of run the exact same play. FURIA basically expect it, and they rush out, they flush them off onto the site, and in those very close 1v1s, the rifle's going to win over the AWP 9 out of 10 times. So FURIA play that to a T, and w7m very much still on the back foot.
Yeah, not really where they want to be. Of course, it's back to that eco situation that we expected to come forth. The failure to convert really anything when they picked that 4-buy has left them in a dicey spot. Like, they're making their way over towards A. Gabby slowly maneuvering way forward, just clearing the close angles. Molotov at least will force Juliana into a little bit of an off peak. He's going to get tagged down a little bit. Sankyu's made, but finds the first kill, looking to make it a second, but not going to connect on the shots. Trying to fall away, but being pressured from all positions as Tufa all alone in this 1 versus 3. Now, P50 in hand. Nade and flash to work with, but no, just going to try and opt for the fight. Comes out on top, in fact. Gabby, bit of a laboured spray, pays the price for it. Flash to come forward and try and give her a bit of an opening. If she can collect herself a rifle, there's now definitely room to work with. But no, from range, Mari finds that final shot. And while it was made expensive, it's a silver lining in what is a bad situation for w7m.
I would have loved to have picked up a rifle, as you mentioned, but they do make it a little bit expensive. But as we mentioned before, absolutely flush with cash. No issues whatsoever here in that department. But thankfully, w7m able to buy up here. Now, again, we're seeing the exact same positions that we've seen out of them every single time. And yes, we're seeing those AWPs again in the same positions that they were previously. But FURIA are now completely, for the second time, utterly circumnavigating that. They're moving over towards the A site where there is almost nothing, and they're bringing an AWP of their own.
Speaking of as well, Khan nearly finding himself an opening. Not going to be the case. He is in for the trade 1-for-1. And speaking of AWPs, Kara's falls in towards top Khan. Bruna's snuck her way on towards site. Trigger distance, brilliant here, but no, she pays the price for it. She was trying to give herself a double, but actually should have just settled for the first. It's an easy kill going her way. And a matter of seconds, Adina, in a 1 versus 4 with this AWP, we mentioned about how much of an expensive investment it is. This has to be a safe call.
What makes it so sad for me is that, so this is the 3rd round where they've tried to go for that double AWP setup, but when FURIA push mid, they get 1 kill with the AWP, FURIA flush it out with smokes, they run straight past it, they take control of the A site, and the AWPs get 0 value. If FURIA start leaning towards the B site, they use smokes, they completely rush into the AWP, force her off of her position, and then she's forced into close combat with an AWP, so she loses the battle.
Precisely.
And the 3rd option is they simply go A and circumnavigate the AWP entirely. So what does w7m Esports do at this point? They need to be slowing down the rushes from FURIA. The worst part of that, though, is that they don't know from round to round which site FURIA are going to go for. So do they expend all of their mollies to try and slow things down in B? Or do they spend all of their mollies trying to slow it down on A? And then they have no utility for the mid-round, which is where they have consistently struggled. They are just really not able to find a hole in FURIA's play.
No, not at all. I mean, it's not really kind of any fault of w7m. It's just that FURIA are the cut above. They're the step above. But speaking of, we were kind of hoping for the AWP to find a bit of success, and there it is. Yadina finds the opener, kickstarts, hopefully, what should be a catalyst to success in a round number 12 for the CT side. Tempo, though, slowed down. Gabby holding over towards back triples. The smokes come forward, and Juliana MP9 in hand. She has to be the difference maker, stepping up the aggression, finding the opening, fighting towards A. That's a brilliant way to cut out this execute, because she finds it immediately. Information gain to Olga. Finds herself a little trade there. Bruna will fall. Cara Deagle in hand, waiting for her opportunity. Bomb dropped as well from behind. Easy mop up, and it's all down to one. Is a 1 versus 3 for the first time. This is when we see w7m actually look decisive.
This was very important. They play this so much better. So they get that initial pick over in B, and not only do they get that pick, but they also get some seriously important information that, okay, we caught one in B, but they're not actually going B. So they can immediately start to rotate around. And at that point, the players on A have figured out that it's going to be an A hit. And so they patiently play behind cover, wait until FURIA get themselves in onto the site, use those smokes, which we've been waiting to see, and they utilize that to perfection in a round where they came in with a bit of a weird half jank buy. They still come out on top of it. And I think that that in and of itself is very, very impressive. But the question here becomes, how much more can they get done? They can't afford to just stop at 1 round, not when we're already at 10-2.
Yeah, I mean, already this is looking very similar to what we saw on Nuke, but the double setup comes forth once more. Kara's noticed the wrap, in fact. This could work in their favor. The team side will come on up top. Bruna, good for 1. The trade not able to connect immediately. Olga, trying to tap away, will at least make it a level standing 4 versus 4, or so I say, before Gabby steps up brilliantly. Entering over towards A, and Molotov in towards the bench is replicated. And the T side have got now control of A. Smokes in towards jungle, cuts off the rotation. It forces the CT side of w7m just to slow down the tempo. They tried to go aggressive. They tried to wrap around in towards T spawn, and while it found them that first kill, they lost the man advantage immediately.
This is still somewhat doable, though. But I think that at this point, you probably just want to hold on to what you have, because in the next round, they're not going to have anything new.
No, yeah.
Oh.
Is a comfortable. Gabby another one as well, and well, in a matter of seconds, it's all down to 1. They know exactly where Yadina's coming from. Still her HP. Pistol whipping is a cleans that one up. 4 people remain alive for FURIA. I think the more important thing and the more pressing matter for FURIA is that consistently when they find success, it's, you know, 3 or 4 at the very least staying alive. So their long-term economy is always in such a stable state. But it's not really the other way. You know, when w7m have found success, it's like, you know, 1 or 2 remaining alive. So they're in a very dicey spot where their buys are always quite janky. And because of that, they can never find consistency. And I think if I'm right in saying we're yet to see w7m find a consecutive round this series.
Nope. Not happen even once.
Yeah.
It usually, it's quite a few rounds in favor of FURIA before w7m are able to come back into it. Ooh, I think you just spotted out something there. Shots through the smoke, doesn't actually connect in onto something. And this time around, unfortunately, they could not afford the double AWP setup, but they do invest quite a bit into at least having the 1. Not a lot of utility to play with here. They've got quite a few flashes, and they're going to be trying to use that to slow things down a little bit. They're not going to be able to create much cover here, so with very little utility left, oh, not good. No,
the entries on towards A are just emphatic. 1 apiece for the 8K and the AWP in a matter of seconds, 4 versus 3. I mean, w7m, through a tough position, is more than safe to say. The rotation coming forth now from B. In the penultimate round of the half, it's one in which they need to convert to at the very least give them a sliver of stability heading into the second half, but it's not looking the case at all. So working towards top con, cuts off the rotations, forces them to shift their way forward. But Yadina snuck a way out. She now has an ever so slight gap that she's found towards FURIA defense, and she might be able to capitalize something here. I think she may have heard the sound cue of Car's scope, so she has understanding of how she wants to play this, but time is of the essence and not on her side. Bomb 3/4 of the way ticked, and yeah, this is just going to be the save call. Olga finds herself 1. The trade not coming out in their favor. Olga still remaining alive from behind, drops the AWP, but that's all she's going to drop. Juliana just making this call to save, but she might even be able to give him the chance. No, she does. She comes on the top with Izza. 1 remaining alive for w7m, but that's a 10-round buffer that FURIA now lead with. 12-2 is where we stand, and Sam, I mean, this has just been absolutely textbook from the FURIA girls.
Just watching Topher get chased down mid. I was watching it happen on the minimap, and I was like, oh, you poor thing. Such a rough position. And they've had very few rounds where they've actually managed to hold on to any of their weapons, because, and this is another issue, they keep trying to press. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is a different look.
The run boost. Only good for one, though. Trading towards mid. No, working in favor of the T side. Numbers advantage once again, but this time in a more pressing matter. It's round number 15. One of which, you know, w7m, they were trying to do themselves one better from the 13-2 half on Nuke. And so far, not so good. It's looking like it might be a direct replica as we stand. As Bruna's just going to relocate over towards Tetris. Gabby the spotter out. I thought for a second she might not. So Bruna comes out on top. Flashbang will catch her. She's posted up in towards Tetris, waiting for opportunity. Smoke to come forward, trying to buy herself some time, but it's caught from behind on the flank. Excellently played by FURIA, leaving it now all down to 1 versus 3, and not even given the chance. 13-2 is where we stand at the half, ladies and gentlemen, and what a brilliant half it is. We'll be right back after the break.
We can be heroes. You lied to me, said what you wanted to hear, lost in between two worlds and two dreams. Fall down to our knees and pray for a moment of peace. Sweet memories tear us apart at the seams.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Map number 2, half number 2, but so far, you have to say, so good. FURIA have just been the cut above, a direct replica of the half they produced to kickstart a dominant Nuke performance to put them 1-0 up in the series, and the way they're moving so far, it's looking like a 2-0 to follow suit. 13-2 is where we stand at the half. And, you know, Sam, it's unfortunate, but I think it's just safe to say that FURIA just have been the better side.
Yeah, I think that somewhat goes without saying. And
Yeah.
one of the things that, like, I wanted to get into this in our last round, but then w7m just decided to run it down, so I didn't get a chance to. But something that they haven't been doing is trying to hold on to weapons, or at the very least, when they do, very often they get denied that opportunity, and they've tried very few times. So basically what I'm saying is their economy is always even messier than it potentially needs to be, because they're not holding on to anything from the previous round. And okay, at this point it's a little bit late to start trying to do that, unfortunately, but I'm seeing a pretty heavy stack pushing over towards the A side here. Mari converters, can she? Nope.
Sometimes they say 2 guns, but I don't know why not the case this time. You need to go for the first one to make it a second as Bruna comes in for support. A textbook execute out towards the A side, and Bruna's not stopping here. She wants to send it further forward, but she walks straight in towards Olga's crosshairs. She's looking to make it 2, but it's not going to be the case. The trade comes forth, but it's a Gabby and Izza 1 apiece to make it a 2 versus 2 in the retake. Dual breath has come forth. One more goes the way, but it's Juliana from Palace finding a double to close it out. That's the dream stars into half number 2 that w7m desperately needed, because it wasn't looking too great for them. Now, at the very least, they can start to kickstart a little bit of momentum. But of course, as we've already mentioned, Sam, they're yet to put a consecutive round on the board the entire series.
And I mean, they won the pistol in the first half as well, so it's not like this is completely out of the realm of possibility. The question becomes, what is the follow-up going to be? Now, they've put quite a spend into this, and understandably so. They can't really afford to concede any rounds, but of course, if they lose these weapons here, if they don't manage to win this round, then they are massively in trouble as we head into the next. Hopefully this buy pays off for them. They do like to have a little bit of a slower start. We're seeing quite a bit of utility getting tossed into mid there, trying to distract the forces of FURIA. You know, Olga's position has already been caught out, and look at this sneak from Juliana. They're trying to get themselves into position to make a pincer in towards one of the sites.
Yeah, I mean, the unfortunate thing is they missed that initial window smoke, so it allowed Olga just to kind of play a slightly more aggressive stance over towards short. Juliana still posted up. She snuck her way through on the ball. She went for the jump peek as well. Smoke going to come forward and the flash too. And Olga still holds some weight. It's all about timing on the peak. 45 seconds left to work with it. It looks like they're pushing towards A. Mac 10 to lead the charge, and it is at to fall. Deagle in towards backside. Not going to come on top. Skull finds a second from Carl. Brilliant. Look for the third. Not going to be the case. Shadina in for the trade, but the double to at least give them some room to work with. Now posting towards backside. Gabby looking to make it a second as well off the back of the initial. Brings things level. The numbers advantage no longer present. And Gabby, we asked for the second. She finds it with a quick trade with a Glock. Oh, and it's a brilliant second as well. Kara stepping up with the pistol. Who needs your rifles? All you need is a Glock.
Kara literally saves the day there. Now, that massive investment pays off, but they lost so many players in that round that they are forced to buy again here. They don't have the advantage of some semblance of a bonus, so they have to force into this. They've got like nothing in the tank left at the end of this round if they lose it. And whereas FURIA, on the other hand, they're starting to build up a loss streak bonus. They're not concerned at all. They're going to have cash in the bank. They've got rounds to buffer, and they nearly netted an opening kill, but were denied.
Yeah, now, kind of with just the USPs coming out into round number 18, it shouldn't really be too much. At the very least, though, w7m are starting to find a little bit of success, and it's on their T side. And the reason being so far is that we see in w7m dictate that tempo. That's kind of been the tale of this entire series, hasn't it? Where FURIA, time and time again, doesn't matter what side they're on, what map they're on, they always dictate the tempo, the play style. They never let w7m find any sort of comfortability. Now, though, on the T side, it's all up to w7m's decisions. Hence why, so far, they're finding that success. Finally, we're seeing consecutive rounds be picked up. The question is, how far can they take it? As now a full buy comes forward for the T side, AWP towards bottom con, and it's a stunner of an opener from Car. The AWP reigns supreme as Bruno will fall.
Now, window smoke wasn't quite in the optimal position, able to peek out of that fairly easily, get that first Yeah, pretty easy pickoff. And unfortunately, yeah, that's going to put a little bit of a hemorrhage into w7m. I mean, there you go. There's another little HE coming through that's going to chunk Juliana down as well. So that kind of forces you to play a little bit more carefully because you know you don't really have anything. She's got a little bit of armor, but I mean, it's not. She's still not in a good spot. And oh, no one checks the angle. Oh no.
Gabby still posted up onto a site as well. He at least finds the trade, but Gabby, a little bit of a gap to work with, a tough angle to clear. That's information gain. How you want to play it? Post towards back pillar, trying to buy some time. Olga comes in for support. And it's Olga doubling down brilliantly. All down to 1. Tufa needs to find 3 kills in the round to keep the dream alive and keep the consistent round on the board for w7m. But FURIA, since picking up the rifles, just look once again back in full force. Well, so I say, Olga falls. Tufa makes it a 1 versus 2, but in comes Mari from short, cleans that one up oh so effortlessly. 14-5 is where we stand, a 9-round lead, and FURIA looking once again back in control of this game.
Yeah, what's interesting, we haven't actually mentioned Izza.
Yeah.
She's got 28 kills. I mean, clearly they haven't been massively flashy kills because, I mean, like we saw with Olga and Nuke, you know, she'll get 2 or 3 kills in a row and she'll be, like, super flashy. But Izza's been more of, like, a consistent player that's just getting those all-important kills when needed. And she's just racking up the death toll as the rounds go on. Oh, that's a good opener from Juliana. Let's see if they can pivot off of that.
Yeah, at the very least, it's a bit of room for them to work with. Smoking towards top con, posturing over towards A as well. An aggressive fight from Olga. She was the highlight player of map number 1, trying to step up in towards the second. Mari, 1-for-1 trade with Yadina. Damage dealt as well on towards the AK. But at the very least, the pressure will force Olga into a little bit more of a passive position. Now, she's going for the wrap, what's looking like in towards Palace. But of course, in doing so, that gives up the A site. Izza, 28 kills to her name, looking for the 30 bomb in towards ladder. Bomb to be planted, host barn to be set up. And now for FURIA, a bit of a dicey retake on their hands here. They're very spread thin and they're running low on that all-elusive utility as well. They're banking realistically on the fact of Izza and Gabby. And with Izza falling, numbers go the way that he started. Juliana, she started to find her form. She was quite a map number 1, but it's not being the case here. Finds that second brilliantly, looking to make it a 3rd, but it's Yadina to clean that one up. Stunning. And what an answer back. What a statement from the T side. When they looked down on that for the count, they came back into it brilliantly.
The end of that round was so beautifully communicated as well amongst the w7m players. They know exactly where the players are at any given time. I mean, you can even see how Juliana plays this. You know, her position is immediately spotted out. She spots where one is. She communicates that over. The swing comes out from the players on site. It's perfect. And what I've loved about this as well is that w7m are starting to dictate the pace a little more. It was something that you had spoken about, and it was something that they'd struggled with so massively. Now, they're forcing FURIA to play their game. They're using utility to slow them down at every angle, but FURIA clearly not a team to be taken lightly.
No. Hand cannons living up to their name as they find the opening 2 kills, make the 3rd. Olga in towards mid, 1 more, and w7m, they're falling in situations where they never should be. They're getting consistently caught in transition, and they're down to left just the 2. Make that 1, 2 for 4s, and Juliana, well, she has the firepower advantage, not the numbers. Finds the 1st. Olga will fall, but it's still a lot for her to do. And the more important thing, the bomb's dropped. She still has to go and collect it and then pick a site. AK's collected 2 for the FURIA side at range. Gabby comes on the top. What an answer back from FURIA. With just the pistols in their hand, they come out supreme. What they do is they effortlessly isolate those fights oh so brilliantly.
Look at w7m's economy.
Yeah.
Oh, we're on match point, and all they can do is go into like a broken force. Oh, this is a rough spot. And unfortunately, I'm going to take this moment to point out, have you seen Kara's full name? Cara de Banana?
Yeah, Cara de Banana. I'm a big fan, I have to say.
That's
very much a
I
big
mean, that
fan.
might be one of my favorite names ever.
And unfortunately, you can have for w7m, Cara alongside Bruna, the only ones bringing, realistically, anything of any importance in towards what could be their final round, and not only the map, but the series. A double Galil setup for them, forced by double Mac 10, and just the Deagle, and that's not the brilliant start. Tufa dinked down to 11 points of HP, joins Juliana with just a sliver of HP left in the bank for them, and they make their way over towards B, and they walk straight in towards Gabby, a double for it, looking to make it a 3rd, not going to be the case. Dances back in towards the truck position, and the hand cannon only able to find the tag. Now, Izza, in towards short. We've highlighted her name in towards map number 2. 28 kills she sits on, but it's Olga from behind, all down to 1, and I think this may be their number up. Ladies and gentlemen, FURIA take the series 2-0, and what a performance from them. They were